right? So people don't.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say you just got and there comes YouTube.
We are not talking about John Delancey and his the character. Hello, everyone. Yes, the spoiler room is back, as you can tell, and things are already lively here in the room as we continue our Carradine Carnage month. And this one is a creature feature from 1982. Though looking at it, you might think it's from the 70s, but we'll get into that. But tonight, yes, we are going to talk Q, the Winged Serpent from 1982 from the legendary Larry Cohen. And we have a wonderful crew assembled here tonight to talk movie spoilers. So thank you for venturing down the stairs, pulling up a chair, and popping your favorite drink with us. And yes, tonight, first with us, the man, the myth, the legend himself. It is Mr. Joe Randazzo. Hello, Joe.
Hey, everyone.
Glad to have you here. And then we have with us the Wolverine of the spoiler room, Baby Spice himself, Mr. Scotty D. Hey, Scott, glad to have you back.
Good to be back, buddy. Thank you. That'll make sense if you're a patron. So
exactly. Yeah, there you go.
if you want our jokes to make sense, money. Come on.
It's only a few schmeckles, as our good friend Derek Carey would say. And also with us once again, my right-hand man. He just keeps coming back for more. It is none other, Mr. Ian Simmons. Hello, Ian.
Hello.
And yes, tonight it is the David Carradine, Michael Moriarty epic creature feature. Q.
Wait, we're talking about the stuff? Oh, sorry.
No, that would come. That would be 3 years later. I wish Carradine was in the stuff. That would have even made it even better. But
yeah.
Oh, if he was Barlow in Return to Salem's Lot.
You would have had Samuel Fuller and David Carradine in a movie together then.
I know.
And Tara Reid. Like 9-year-old Tara Reid.
Little Tara Reid.
So tonight, yes, if you're wondering what this film is about, well, Mr. Joe Randazzo will be happy to give us the synopsis of Q, the Winged Serpent.
So, in New York City in 1982, a window washer at the Empire State Building gets his head ripped off. We don't know why. David Carradine's on the ground going, oh, it'll turn up. A woman sunbathing on a rooftop is snatched. At the same time, Richard Roundtree, was it Richard Roundtree? Yeah, Richard Roundtree, I think, is called to a room where somebody has been flayed. And you don't think like this stuff will come together, but because this is a fucking Larry Cohen script, and damn, I love that. I love that, man. It does all come together because what's going on is Quetzalcoatl is like, why not? Quetzalcoatl has been summoned, and he's snatching people off the streets of New York. He's smart enough to know to fly in the direction of the sun so that when people look up and wonder why all this blood and stuff is glopping on them, they'll look up and just be blinded by the sun so they can't see him. At the same time, you have Michael Moriarty as a very as a wannabe piano player. He's an aspiring piano player who doesn't get the job that he's going for. So he's involved in a heist of some jewels from a jewelry store. He gets hit by a car because they took the keys to the car because they didn't want him chickening out. And he loses the jewels. So now these guys are coming after him, and he has now discovered where Q, the Winged Serpent, has its lair. He gets the gangsters to go up there and get killed. And then he decides, when he overhears everything and he sees all the hysteria in the newspapers, that he is going to now basically bend New York City over a barrel and demand a whole bunch of money and a whole bunch of respect that he may not really be due. But at the same time, it sounds like a one-dimensional character But then he talks about how a cop just like Richard Roundtree when I was 19 years old, fucked me over, and that's what, because he needed an arrest, and that's what led me to this life of crime. So that this movie has a lot of layers for a a B monster movie from 1982 about literally a flying serpent
in New York.
In New York, yeah.
No less.
I don't know if all that made sense, but we will make sense of it because it does. It's weird because it does come together.
It does. It does. So, Joe, you remember when you first saw Q? What's your high level feeling before we dive into it?
I slept on Q for a long time, and I actually watched this for the first time when it aired on the last drive-in with Joe Bob Briggs in 2019. So yeah, you know what? Shame on me for that because I should have watched this movie a long time ago. Because and rewatching it yesterday for this, I forgot how goddamn good this movie is. I was just like, I really loved it. I loved it even more the second time than I did the first.
Scotty D, what about you? First time you saw Q?
I mean, I saw it a long time ago. I think I remember renting the MCA home video VHS tape from Johnny's TV in Stillwater, Minnesota. So I think that I probably caught up to it by like 1990 or so at the latest. So I mean, the thing is though, I don't watch this movie for like maybe 10, 15 years at a time. And like Joe says, I forget how good it is. And I honestly want to thank you personally, Mark, for picking this movie because you reminded me again. I'm like, my God, I forget. This is a great movie. This is a wonderful movie. This is a film where Larry Cohen. I love him too, but he has this weird tendency with he has these wonderful scripts, but sometimes the scripts don't all come together. Because he's got so many elements to the scripts, and he's got so many actors, and he's got so many plot elements, and he's got production on his case. And in this movie, which oddly enough, he had less time and less, he should have been under more pressure.
Right.
Everything seems to come together. Everything, all the wonderful schlock of the story, all the amazing character bits, they all come together. Michael Moriarty is just a powerhouse in this movie. He's incredible, and to the point where I always remember that reading a ways back that when Stanley Kubrick was considering doing The Shining, that there were a number of actors that he was considering, and Michael Moriarty was on the list. I never heard anything above him being on the list, so I don't know how far that got, but I've always imagined in my mind how incredible a Michael Moriarty-led Shining could be. It'd be a little strange because he's kind of, let's just say, a tinier guy than Nicholson, but a little tinier, wirier guy than Nicholson. But I just amazed. It's there's so many amazing parts of that, and then you have Carradine, and then you have this. So yeah, this is a great. I watched it when I was a kid, but I only caught it a few times over the years, and watching it again last night made me think, why isn't this a film like Streets of Fire that I plug in like 3 times a year or something, or something like that, because this is just it's just a wonderful film. It has everything I look for in this type of movie. This type of movie has everything I look for.
It's kind of a minor cult classic where I feel like it should be a major cult classic.
I don't even think it's widely celebrated among Larry Cohen's films as much as, say, the It's Alive trilogy,
Yeah. Or he wrote the Maniac Cop movies, and everyone loves Maniac Cop, especially 2.
Yeah. And those are all, and hey, not putting not thumbing my nose at any of those. I love all those movies. I have them on Blue. but I mean, like this one, I don't know why it gets overlooked. It's great. I mean, I always kind of give the druthers to, as for when people like pin me like, what's your favorite Larry Cohen? And because I have friends like you guys, I get asked that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you don't have to worry. Don't have to worry about that in normie world. But
I usually say the stuff, and I'm like, no, maybe it should be Q.
People would go to the stuff. I usually go to God Told Me To, which I really love. But I think honestly, looking back, I'm like, I might give the edge to Q because even God Told Me To, it's not as even God Told Me To is not as consistently great with as consistently interesting characters and such a consistently interesting cast all the way through. So this is an immense praise you're hearing from me right now, and it's deserved because I think that this should be one of those great, schlock. And when I say schlock, I don't mean that in an insulting term. That is a
endearing term,
film, and it's a very endearing term. It's something I hold very close to my heart, and this is one of the best schlock movies of its time. So,
and then and Ian, was this your first watch of Q, and what do you think of it?
Come on, man.
If he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. I'm not
It's okay. It's okay if you don't like it.
Oh no! I don't want that to sound mean.
No, I'm trying to figure out how to answer the first part of that question because I remember this movie being on when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw maybe a HBO trailer for it or something like that. I feel like I would have watched. I interviewed Larry Cohen for the 3rd episode of the Kicking the Seat podcast.
Wow, nice.
In person.
I forgot that.
A retrospective. It was a retro screening of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I watched this in preparation for that interview because watching it today, I didn't remember anything about this film. So it's possible that I didn't watch it. I may have skimmed something, but yeah, this is my first experience of it. I think this movie is terrible and I love it.
That's like the tagline on every Larry Cohen movie.
This is unique among the Larry Cohen movies that I've seen. I haven't seen all of them.
Sure.
But this does not work as a movie at all because it has no focus. It is a big monster movie, and it's also a small time hood movie, and it's also a movie about a man who's going completely insane. And they all mix together in this, I'm just going to say, an insufferable, unending cocktail of nonsense that's an hour and 36 minutes long, but it feels like 6 hours because you'll be like, okay, cool. We've discovered the nest, but now we're going to go and divert to shenanigans where Michael Moriarty is dodging these 2, Italian hoods, and there's a foot chase and weird music playing in the background and getting roughed up. And then they're back to the nest again. Then there's the blackmail of City Hall. And that scene goes on for 10 minutes as they're negotiating stuff. And David Carradine is doodling on a legal pad. And then there's a fight breaking out. It's all over the place. I love the weird stop motion and really shitty, not even shitty dummies. These are claymation figures of cops shooting machine guns at this thing out of the top of the Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building, whatever. It's a movie. I will probably watch it again now that I know everything that it's about. But while I'm watching it, I'm I just want all of the characters to shut up, except for David Carradine, because he seemed like the only one who's this is fucking trash. What am I doing here? I'll say the lines, sure, and I'll wink at the camera, but get out of here.
Oddly enough, he didn't know. He just knew Larry Cohen wanted him for a movie, so he showed up on the date and time that Larry Cohen told him. His initial reaction was, "What is this shit?" But then he ended up liking it. So
that's wild, because when I watched Carradine in this film, I was thinking, I don't know if I've seen Carradine in too many roles like this. I mean, we've seen him as a cop. I've seen him as a cop a bunch of times, but not this type of cop. Not this kind of idiosyncratic, kind of put upon, but still, wears a bad suit cop, just Not this type. You see him as the tough cop.
Also,
Or
his
he's-
own clothes, by the way, because Larry Cohen didn't have a wardrobe budget. He told him to bring clothes to play a New York cop. So
Okay, sorry about that comment about your suit there, Dave.
it's fine. He gets made fun of for worse these days.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. But no. So that's kind of surprised because he really took to this. He really took to this like a he really took to this role like a champ here. I might have to close my window here. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay.
So but he really took to this role like a champ. Wonderful little bits, and I'm sure so much of this had to be improv, where Michael Moriarty. Where Michael Moriarty is playing piano in the bar, and then he goes in and talks to the bartender. Hey, did you ever find that guy's head? I looked around. Just the way
Carradine's cop could not care less about any of this. Even when the initial thing happens, he's at the bottom of the Empire State Building, and Ian, you're right. It is the Chrysler Building where where Q has made its nest, but the opening head snatching is the Empire State Building. But he's standing at the bottom, where Richard Roundtree's like, wait, where could the head be? It'll turn up.
Yeah.
Well, he also said, you ever drop a cantaloupe from the 40 stories?
Right.
It was such a throwback to the old New York City cops of the era that were just fed up with it. And what I think even more than just the it's not so much in not caring about everything. It's just the whole gals here, because he gets like obsessive about actually like learning about the crazy bullshit behind this story. And it's crazy bullshit. Let's be clear. It sounds like crazy bullshit when he says it, but he gets obsessive about it. But it's kind of marked with this. Yeah, no one's gonna listen because nobody gets me. You can't fight City Hall.
It does kind of feel. He kind of feels like he's in a Kolchak the Night Stalker episode.
Oh yeah,
that's what I kept feeling yesterday watching this. I'm like, this is like an extended Kolchak episode, and maybe that's why I like it so much. I love Kolchak.
He is a total. He's like a more cynical. He's like a cynical I mean, he's not a reporter, but he's a cynical Kolchak.
He's interviewing the professor of Aztec studies, and he's doing all this stuff. He's like doodling. He's like, oh well, it's clear what we have here is a flying fucking dragon.
Of course.
And maybe that's why I like it so much. I love Kolchak. Maybe Darren McGavin should have been the David Carradine character.
Oh man, I think Darren McGavin in anything it can only improve it.
What are you gonna say, Ian?
I was just saying there was that also the line when the cops and the SWAT team finally get to the nest. And Carradine's line is, Jesus, look at that fucking omelet.
And I love it that they ADR'd, like, because there's always like little great little character bits, even like with the sound, and he'll like they ADR'd in like, okay, he only makes jokes when he's really scared. Just like wonderful detail.
I love that Moriarty ever be the slime ball in this. He's like, wait, I'm not going up there. No, you guys got to give me that $1 million, and that's it. Like, I'm not sticking my head up there. He knows what's up there. He ain't fucking around.
I do think he got screwed out of the money.
He did. He definitely did.
He got screwed out of the money big time.
They should have. I mean, to be fair, they should have given him the money because he did lead them to the nest.
Yeah. I mean, besides, what were the chances of the bird being there at that moment anyway?
But did you not see the police corruption subtext in this film where they were talking about where
Larry Cohen does that a lot.
In quotes, It's literally hitting you in the face that every New York cop is corrupt. Larry Cohen has something against New York cops in this film.
If you watch the original Maniac Cop, there's a lot of those scenes where they show different characters talking about run-ins with the police, and it's all. This was, 2020 levels of, you know, all cops are bastards long before it became a thing. Larry Cohen hated New York cops, I feel like. Yeah, I think that's right.
I hate to break it to you, but I mean, I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying he may have had a lot of reason for somebody who, for someone who grew up about 45 minutes away around the same period. He may have had reason, you know, and he always had things about, you know, local politics and corporations and cops and like all authority figures, basically. There's always something going on, and he adds that extra, whereas that they'll always be the big bad in lots of scripts and stuff, but he'll always add that extra layer of red tape and corruption, and that idea that it is God, now I'm missing the word now, but that it's now a culture of corruption, you know? And for God's sakes, the police commissioner in this movie looks like a New Yorker cartoon come to life. He's got the pipe going in. Oh, I think we will negotiate it a little. I'm like, oh God.
Hey, at least he did fake like a New York accent or something. They did make him like try to be, you know, with a New York. He just kept his British properness a little.
That was the idea. I think that was the idea in that, and they you'd often see that in things like where, yeah, there's New Yorkers who live in the nice parts of town and they don't even talk like us anymore. You know, and that kind of sentiment was actually say what you want about it, you know, good and bad. That sentiment was kind of going around the time. There was a lot of talk about that time. This is like the age of like, I think Koch was either there or coming in. And those were the years I remember about New York. Looking at it as a kid. Anyway.
I came of age in the Dinkins era. So I was at the late, you know, I was born in 81. So I think Koch was, Koch was before Dinkins. It was Koch, Dinkins, Giuliani, Bloomberg.
Yeah, I was 75 and I lived there since 78, 78 to 88. But again, when I say this, please understand I'm not on the rough and tumble streets. I'm 45 minutes away, and I just learned how to walk. So, where were you? But lots of perception. I was in Jersey.
I was in Brooklyn. So I grew up in Brooklyn.
Got friends there right now.
We got a couple New Yorkers here. Yeah.
Oh no. So to the point where I still see things.
First 30 years of my life.
I see stuff from the era, and I get very nostalgic.
So did I. I found myself getting nostalgic. I was like, oh,
every garbage strewn inch of New York City. I mean, we talked about this on the Night of the Juggler episode, if I recall. I mean, it's. I find it beautiful, and I think it's bittersweet that it's not there now. There was a lot of tragedy associated with that city, but I find the fact that it's a thing of the past kind of bittersweet, we'll say.
well, you can still find trash on the street, but
not like that. Not like that was good trash. That was trash with a fucking story, man.
Oh, that had a history. Well, as Ian would call Q trash with a fucking story. No, just kidding.
I don't think I would qualify it with the story part.
No, didn't care for the story.
Is it
too much? Does it try to do too much?
They try and do too much and also nothing at all. I mean, but the other thing I didn't mention is the whole, you know, the Aztec ritual or whatever the hell, the guys in the feather costume sacrificing people who are willing to give themselves up for this god. Like all of this stuff, it's floating around, but it doesn't really gel because the story is very basic. It's King Kong, right? And then you're applying all this stuff on top of it to give it the illusion of depth. But then you've also got all these actors who are acting as if they are actually in different movies, bouncing off of each other. and I mean, that's the thing. If this weren't a Larry Cohen movie, and if I didn't know much about his, like, what else he had going on in terms of a filmography, I don't know if I'd like this movie at all. I'm like, what is anybody doing here? Because Moriarty is great at playing a really annoying character, but there are so many instances where I feel like in any story with a semblance of realism, someone would have shot him in the face. There's no way he's walking out of this movie as one of the quote unquote heroes at the end at all.
I'm still surprised he doesn't die in it. He ends up being saved by David Carradine in the end.
One of the things I found fascinating about it is I'm watching it and I'm like, why I enjoy the film. And no, I mean, I enjoy it, but I fully recognize all of its warts, especially watching it again. It's like the 5th or 6th time I've watched it. Used to watch it on cable. There's like 3 different types of stories he's combined into one here. And they kind of come together at the end, but you're just like, okay. But what I love is that he has talent in front of the camera. And I think when you mentioned it is that everybody's acting, but they're acting in a different movie than a monster movie. I mean, you've got you've got Carradine and Richard Roundtree, who, if I ever wanted like a cop, like just a buddy cop film, I would watch those two be a buddy cop film. I liked Powell and Shepard. I liked these two. Seeing Richard Roundtree, who I forgot was in here, is always great to see, because he just amps it up to 11 all the time. And then you got Michael Moriarty, and all 3 are putting in performances that in a probably a bigger budgeted, maybe a little bit more well-rounded script would have been great, because they're putting their all into these roles for the most part, at least Roundtree and Moriarty. And you're like, this is great. But then you've got the story in there. You go like, wait, there's Aztec Killer, which I love how that story kind of gets sidelined for like most of the film. Like, they're supposed to be on that case.
It's just kind of a framing story. That it's just a way to explain everything that's happening. That's the only reason it exists.
Right, and you don't need it. I mean, you could just say, hey, this ancient monster came up from out of the earth or something. Now it's got a nest. Or maybe they never find out why it showed up. It's just there.
It's a way.
I want to see a movie. I want to see a remake. Well, not a remake because the time's all screwed up. But I want to see a version of Midnight Run starring David Carradine and Michael Moriarty, just playing the characters in this movie.
Oh, that'd be great!
That would be so great.
That would be amazing. As a huge fan of Midnight Run, anyway, that would just be amazing too. Yeah. That would have been great. We should have gotten those. We should have gotten those instead of those TV movies.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of those sequels.
They were like part of the action pack, the Universal action pack. They did the same thing with the Bandit.
I have both those box sets because in both cases I was like, I'd be on Amazon. It's like Midnight Run is $4.99. The entire Midnight Run series is $5.99. Well, you know what? Who knows? I might watch them someday. It was the same thing with Smokey and the Bandit. It was like Smokey and the Bandit for $7.99. Smokey and the Bandit 1 through 7 for $4.99. Well, fuck it, it's cheaper, and I get more movies.
I didn't even know those were on disc. Wow. Okay.
They are. They are all on disc. I own every one of them.
But I remember.
A fucking psycho.
I realized something, about as you guys were talking that about what makes, like, this is a throwback to those old like monster movies and stuff. I'm like, why does this play so differently and stuff? And it's staring me right in the face. It's that on all those old like 50s sci-fi films, which we love, right? And I think that definitely Larry Cohen saw like the giant claw or something.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And but you always have these egghead, very white scientists. They all kind of looked like they were more like kind of like sculpted out of like, like a little like like a little white mayonnaise loaf, and they throw them in a lab coat, and those are your heroes because these were science adventures and stuff like that, and they were actually trying to put on some kind of airs of that, and you'd get all this hot science techno speak, and you'd get these people, and these were the heroes, but they're not people. Everybody in Q is blue collar.
Yeah.
And you got the cops, you got the crooks, you've got the. I mean, Michael Moriarty is a literal 2-time loser, an ex-junkie who let's not ignore it, is abusive to his girlfriend,
yeah,
and has been sent up the river twice. I mean, and he's. Then you've got like the grizzled cops, and then you've got the people who don't want to listen. I mean, the science institutes and the governments and stuff like that we see in all the other things, they never come into the picture. This is a New York problem. New York has to fix it, okay? Mind your own business. Go back to Jersey. Hey! Sorry, that may have been louder than Mike. But anyway.
One of my favorite parts of this was when you have that stereotypical investigation Shepard's doing, and he's interviewing the professor guy at the museum who's talking about, because don't get lost, folks. They're investigating the skinning of it, and then there was a guy who has this specifically his heart is removed, and suddenly they're doing this whole thing, and so he's investigating with the professor guy, and the professor's like, well, there's a number of books, and then at first he's like, I'm not going to read them, but then by then he's like, wait, you got those books? And I loved how Larry Cohen is like, shit, I need some runtime yet. You know what? When we're describing people getting their skin cut, we'll actually show people getting their skin cut. There's not going to be a lot of frame of reference necessarily of who's getting their skin cut, but we're going to put this scene in there in case.
It doesn't matter. It's an extra scene of like little pseudo gore to splice in while people are expositing. That's great.
Well, yeah. And let's not forget the gratuitous nude scene either. Roger Corman, be proud. So.
Yeah.
Well, Corman may not have been involved in this, but this was executive produced by Samuel Z. Arkoff of American International, who gave Corman his start. So there's this all starts to cannibalize itself at some point. But I was thinking, actually, I think there even was a Night Stalker episode about Quetzalcoatl where I think Eric Estrada was like living his best life, and then he's got to be sacrificed at the end. Was that for Quetzalcoatl? I don't remember.
It sounds so familiar. I know. I remember the Eric Estrada thing.
The Night Stalker.
I know. I remember Eric Estrada
because I remember also the guy. The guys in the festive stuff that were doing the sacrifice.
No, you're absolutely right. Legacy of Terror. The episode is. Reporter Jack Kolchak investigates Chicago citizens having their hearts cut out by Aztecs. So there you go. It's Aztecs, so it's connected to Aztecs.
So yeah, I'm wondering if Larry Cohen also might have seen that. Apparently, he wrote this screenplay in 6 days, which I know Ian's going to be like, I'm not shocked at all by that.
I don't even believe he wrote a screenplay. I think he just said, "Hey." David, Michael, what if you were in this scene? What would you think? And they just he rolled on them, like going crazy.
I'll bet it was a lot like that. I'll bet it was like a very loose shooting script.
Oh yeah,
just to make sure you could get like all the effects and get all the practicals done.
I rewatched the last drive-in episode, so I had the benefit of Joe Bob Briggs giving a lot of the skinny on the background. And apparently, they were on another movie with Armand Assante, and the producers of that movie were starting to feel kind of sketchy, like they were running out of money and they were just going to shut the production down. And Larry Cohen got wind of that. And he was just like, I'm going to go home and just write this screenplay. And then he went and got a little bit of money and put it all together and shot the thing in like 2 weeks. He didn't even have the monster. The monster was added after principal photography was done. So that's actually interesting too.
He shot principal photography on Q in 2 weeks?
I think it was something like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that is pretty incredible. And like I said earlier, he sent David Carradine a telegram and told him, hey, be in New York on this date, at this time, at this location. bring clothes to play a New York cop. And David Carradine showed up, and they were shooting the scene in the piano bar, which the piano bar is, oh my God, it's a famous piano bar in New York. I'm blanking on the name. But he showed up for that scene. David Carradine was not supposed to be in that scene. So he was there, and he was like, oh, well, whatever. Ask him if you ever found the head, and that whole I'm sure one of you guys pointed out a lot of ad-libbing in this. I'm sure that whole thing with Moriarty and David Carradine was probably ad-libbed.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all came back around in the end. What do you know? Oh, I thought you were pretty good. What do you know?
What I love about that's the first time we're in that bar, Moriarty's character walks in and he steps over someone who's just lying on the floor and doesn't even barely notice it. And then a few minutes later, Carradine comes in, does the same damn thing. Like, it's
and the bar's not even open yet. It's still early in the morning. It's before it's open. Somebody's already passed out on the ground.
Well, at first I thought it was like a dog, like the bar owner's dog or something. I'm like, nope, that's a person.
Just a quirky thing that Cohen's like, yeah, let's put a guy on the ground. He's passed out drunk.
All these wonderful bits and everything. I'm telling you, it's not the same style, not by a long shot, but some of the same character bits, little asides and everything, that the type of thing that we very rightly praise the Coen brothers for, the Coen Coen brothers for, is stuff that Larry Cohen is in a totally different style and with his own approach was kind of doing in these movies. There are wonderful things, like how do you like the cop? One of the greatest bits I love is all the cops are going in there and they are about to swarm the building and like shoot at the Quetzalcoatl. Again, why are they doing this? This is not this was not in their pay grade and stuff, and they are scared to death. How do they show it? Well, they flash, they show a guy crossing, and then they show another cop just taking a swig of a fresh beer.
Budweiser.
I saw that. I love that.
Just like, hey, you're on duty. Fuck you.
I laughed. I'm watching this, and I'm watching it. They're doing the montage of all the guys getting prepared, and all of a sudden, I just watched it. I'm like, did he just take a swig of Budweiser?
I mean, just amazing little bits.
And my wife was watching it with us because I watched it this morning because I put it on and she just didn't feel like leaving the living room, so she ended up watching it with us, which sometimes happens. We run usually different tastes in films. Go figure. But today she just sat there and she looked at the machine guns with the big epic fight at the end where Q is coming after the cops and they're just shooting it, just riddling machine guns from the top of the Chrysler building with millions of people down below. They're firing these off at this monster. And she's like, would they even be carrying those types of guns? She's like, would they even? She was like, did they even have those types of guns at the police station? It's like because everybody's got like the machine guns and the Uzis and that. And she's just
yeah, they do.
I mean, if you're watching a movie about a flying serpent that's snatching people off rooftops in New York City, I think at that point the suspension of disbelief
is gone. Yeah,
you're already like way out there anyway. I think Larry Cohen probably counted on at this point they don't care about the guns.
Can we just pull over a second and appreciate the mime cop?
Yes,
wearing the Amadeus T-shirt.
Yes,
sure.
And he stays a mime cop. In fact, Jill, my wife was asked, she's like, why is he still in the mime getup? Because after they follow the Aztec killer, which there's another section in here where while everything else is going on, they've still been investigating the Aztec killings. And you may have forgotten about them until Mime Cop shows up. And Mime Cop goes, oh, hey, I found the suspect. You're like, wait, what suspect? Wait, what? Okay. Well, now they found the suspect, I guess.
There's still a movie going on.
There's still some other stuff going. And then He calls, and then they show up. They go after the guy, and he's still in like the full mime. He never wipes the mime makeup off at all.
Can you imagine what it would be like if like if that was just like his cover, and then he'd have to go into the precinct, and they'd say, "Okay, let's hear your report," and he'd be like, "That's not going to work if you're just listening."
Well, then you get that wonderful line. You get that wonderful line in there too. After they get the cops in the car to follow the guys. He goes, "How much did you make?" It's like, $250. Oh man,
I just would love if that's just his post. That's just what he does. Every day he shows up to Central Park as a mime. That's his job. That's what he does.
It had to be someone's job at some point. You know?
Every precinct needs a mime cop. Why not this guy?
You know,
mime cop.
Somebody who joined the force to be Charles Bronson and wound up being Marcel Marceau.
All those crooked New York cops have to maintain a what? Code of silence. Yes. Code of silence.
Oh, there you go.
Nice.
I think this is even the Paul Kersey New York, if you think about it. So this could be. Let's pretend this is in the Death Wish universe. Because that would make this fun. On the other side of the bridge, you got Charles Bronson going, "Hey, you took my camera."
Well, no, that's the thing is like you have Death Wish and he's going after the last guy who attacked his family. And before he can shoot him, a giant fucking serpent comes out of the sky and bites off his head.
Hey, that was my guy.
And then you have him going after Q. He's going after Quetzalcoatl. And he crosses past. He crosses paths with Shepard and Powell, who are like, "Stay out of our business." And then Moriarty goes, "Hey, I know the guy." Oh my God, we've got an epic crossover here.
Not to get too far into the Death Wish movies, at some point you just got to stop being friends with Paul Kersey. It's like every one of your friends and family ends up raped and murdered.
My dad and I used to joke about that every time we used to watch that. But then, of course, we would also pull the same joke on my mom, who used to watch Murder, She Wrote every week. Who is still friends with this woman? She's the kiss of death.
Well, and I get to Ian totally where you're coming from with it. You could pick any one of the 3 or 4 storylines and flesh them out to make like an 80-minute movie from just them. You could just take the Aztec killing, not even have the bird, just have a guy doing the killing in the name of, with an idea that eventually it's going to bring about the, Q bird. You could just have Q, Quetzalcoatl, reigning terror on New York. You could just have a crime drama with Shepard and Powell. You could do like all these different things, but Laurie Cohen's like, let's just put them all together.
Why see three movies when you can just see one?
Or Moriarty's character too,
I think Q, even though it's 1982, is the perfect movie for the TikTok generation, because if I ever revisit this, it's probably going to be in 3-minute bursts. Then I'm going to have to take a break and just come back.
See, I love again, a different style, but I love Paul Naschy movies, and Paul Naschy has the same thing. Has the same thing of, yeah, it's a werewolf movie. It's also this, it's this, it's this, it's this, and we're gonna throw in this bit with these locals, and then we're gonna do this and this and this, and so so the films wind up being this amazing kind of, I don't know, this kaleidoscope almost of people, and things,
I just watched the Moonlight Murders. Last week, I watched the Paul Naschy werewolf movie, The Moonlight Murders, where it's also a police procedural somehow, and there's a fucking serial killer and a werewolf. Why not? Because that's the kind of shit he was doing. Yeah, you're right. That's a good comparison. Paul Naschy was doing that on a tiny budget.
And so I love that kind of stuff. And so I think that's probably also a reason why I really took to this so well, is because it's a police procedural. It's a giant monster movie. It's it's a story about this bum, and it
Small-time good movie, like Ian said. It's all these things.
They everything you guys have been saying, everything, and you just throw it into a big, well, I guess it's 82, so Cuisinart. And
it's a Cuisinart. Yeah.
Cuisinart. Oh, nice.
Yeah. There we go. You're good with. He's good with puns tonight, man.
He's on point tonight.
I approve. Sure. I approve. That's awesome, man.
Well, we were talking about the firing of machine guns. Apparently, he was firing machine guns, blanks, at the Beast from the top of an actual skyscraper.
Yes, he was.
We're not. This wasn't a stage or anything. They were actually at the top of a skyscraper.
It's just like the helicopters flying around to capture it.
Yes.
And stuff? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. It was a helicopter shot around the building where they're actually shooting this with shells actually dropping. I mean, you can watch the shells literally ricochet off of the wall of the building. Check this bit out. Apparently, Larry Cohen was hoping to get footage of real people acting in shock to the gunfire that's happening at the top of this building, right? And the shells would have fell 80 stories on people, but there was a canopy that they used for construction already, so it was caught into that. So they were lucky there. But apparently Larry Cohen expected and hoped to get footage of real people reacting to shock to the gunfire. But civilians barely gave a commotion a glance.
It's New York in the 80s.
New York.
Also, I think one of the cops in that final scene, unless I was mistaken, was Larry Cohen. I think he was the cop in like the gray suit. I think he was like a redhead. Turns around with a machine.
Well, there's a David Cohen credited in this film as Carradine. Excuse me, not Cohen. Carradine. There's a David. Not David. Brian Carradine.
Yeah, Brian. I think it was Brian Carradine. I don't know if he's David's son. Like the Carradine family, once you get I'm good with John and I'm good with David, Robert, Keith, all them. But once you get to the next gen, I'm like, I'm lost.
It was fun seeing some of the character actors that show up in here, like the security guy who shows up. We've seen him in many places. I'm like, oh, hey.
This is one of those movies where you're going to be like, oh, I know that guy. That's that guy from that thing. It's a lot of that. Larry Cohen loved using those guys.
Well, whenever every role in your movie is a character role, I mean, it's you're gonna it's like, let's get some great character actors, and they did. And as a huge fan of character actors, I approve.
Well, and I'm not picking on Ian at all, but I was wondering, is there a part that you did enjoy in this? I know you felt it long, but
he did say he loved it, so yeah.
I mean, that's true.
It's a weird thing. I loved it in retrospect, but while it was going on,
oh, okay.
I don't know. I think it's because it's what we've been talking about. I would love to watch. I can't remember who said it, but I would love to watch an 80-minute version of any of the 5 different movies that are inside this movie. But when they're all mashed together, I'm just like, I can't. I'm like a cat with a laser light. I'm like, I can't focus on anything, so I just get really annoyed.
Yeah, well, it seems like this was an ADD movie. He's like, I want to put this in the movie.
Again, probably why I like it.
It's a giant monster movie. And if you don't like that, it's a police procedural. And if you don't like that, it's a hood movie.
It's like people say about the weather in certain parts of the country. If you don't like the movie, wait 10 minutes. There'll be another one along.
One of the things I enjoyed in this too was I love Moriarty's character, Jimmy Quinn. It just, there's parts I'm like trying to figure out what they were going for with him. Like, okay, is he like disassociative, or is he just like realizes he's saying one thing and then changes his mind? Because there'd be points where he's like, oh, I'm not good at this. And then he'd like just flip on a dime and suddenly be the darkest character there is, where he's an abusive guy. And then he's like the most dweebish little wet towel you could be. And then he switches back again. Like
he's trying to keep that, because he's trying to keep that bottled in You know, he's trying to make it on the outside. He's trying to, I'm trying to do this, but he's doing a really shitty job, because he is such a sad sack. He's a 2-time loser, and he is his own worst enemy in like a million different ways. As much as people take advantage of him, and they definitely do, he's also his worst enemy. And so he tries to, but everybody, all those people who, they still try to do good. They still, but you try to get the thing, and how's that going to come out? Well, thankfully we don't see it too much in this movie, but we know that he's, physically assaulted his girlfriend, Candy Clark, who incidentally is great in this movie. I haven't mentioned her, but she's great. We have, we have all the, he sees it when he says, yeah, I can actually make the moral decision that, how do I, there's a time where they say, how do you, I think Richard Roundtree asks him, like, how do you manage knowing that the guy who died yesterday while you were sitting on information died? He says, I feel great because I'm saving the person tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. So screw it. Yeah. And he's in, and that's how he rationalizes it. But like, there is like, I mean, you don't go through prison twice. And like this guy was probably at freaking Rikers. I mean, you don't go through that twice without, having some darkness in you. And it's honestly probably good for people that he does try to tamp that down, because he honestly is so unstable that it's a miracle that it doesn't boil to the surface more.
I feel like he's completely brain broken too. Like we use that term a lot nowadays. I feel like that's maybe what this guy would have been then. He's a guy who obviously lacks self-awareness in all ways because he's the only, him and Candy Clark apparently doesn't see him as a loser, which incidentally, what does she do? Because like she's got this giant library of books behind them in the apartment, and it seems like she's actually got her shit together. What is she doing with this loser?
It's love, Joe. It's love.
Yeah. I mean, but then she does. But she does. Great line of dialogue. I saw what happens when you get a little bit of power, and I didn't like it. And that's the moment where she's breaking up with him towards the middle of the movie, because she sees the ugly. Maybe he beats her, so she's got to see the ugliness.
Yeah.
And his first line to her in the sandwich in the movie is something like, "Shut the fuck up and make me a sandwich."
Yeah,
it's along those lines.
It's real. It's he suddenly becomes, and we kind of get after showing him kind of just dealing with the people he has to work with. We kind of see someone who he feels like he can push around a little. And honestly, it's kind of a turn that we see, and it's a little disturbing, and I think it's a good, I think it actually kind of is a good precursor to what comes later.
Well, ultimately, I feel like a lot of these guys who are bullies are like that, because at work they're constantly getting shit upon by other people, and I can't say anything back to that person, so I'm going to say it to this person who I have at home, who is who I can push around. I'm getting pushed around. I can't push my boss back. I can't push these gangsters back, but I can push my girlfriend around, and that's the kind of slime ball he is.
And credit to Cohen again, and Clark, both of them, Cohen for writing it and Clark for performing the hell out of it, acting the hell out of it. In any other movie, that would just be the girlfriend, and it would be very one-dimensional. She likes him, she leaves him, she comes back, or something like that, and they really would tie that bow by the end. And this time, no, through just even if these are actors who, I'm sure if you look at the actual finished movie, maybe she has 10 minutes of screen time, something like that. I felt like I knew her character really well. Yeah. I felt like, despite not knowing what she does for a living, as you guys mentioned, but
whatever she does, she must be doing well, because they have a nice, spacious apartment.
And
In
some
New
people,
York, yeah.
and and some people just,
Well,
and some
you
people
do,
just fall for the wrong person.
yeah, but you
know?
do get that moment with Quinn and her where she finally puts her foot down, even after she talks to him in the confession. She
That's
kicks him
great.
out, and he goes on the run. When she puts any foot of actual strength and stands up to him, he leaves. It's like after he's throwing the stuff around in their apartment, because the city is not only going to get his money back, but the city's also going to charge him with the 2 bodies up at the top that were up by the bird's nest. And then she's just like, she stands up to him, and he's like, oh, she's like, get out. And she doesn't budge and show fear. And suddenly he backs down and leaves.
Well, he even asked her, "Are you serious?" Like, he's in disbelief over this. Like, wait, no? Do you mean that? Do you mean that? You mean you want me to leave? Like, that's who he is. He's just, yeah.
And he shrinks because he is he's a weak guy.
He is a weak guy.
He's been beat around a lot, but he's still a weak guy. I don't want to bring up any ideas because I don't want to introduce any kind of toxic masculinity or anything like that. But he's not really a man. He got screwed by the system when he was a kid, and he's had to develop thing. But somehow in all that time, he's just been in survival mode. And he's never taken responsibility, and he's never taken action, taken real responsibility for his actions and who he is. And that causes him, and he treats other people like shit. And he acts like he's the victim all the time. And he is a lot of the time, but not all the time. Like I said, he's his own worst enemy. I mean, and that's how people like that tend to react. We see that all the time. We'll see that in people who are like him and can't make a go of it. We'll see people like that who have everything and they still act like little whiny people like that. We'll see that. We see that. This is a part of the human condition. It's not to be accepted, but it is something that is there that needs to be dealt with. Yeah.
I knew a lot of guys like that in New York. A lot of guys on my block were like that. So
Ian, what were you going to say?
We're giving this big analysis of the Quinn character, and I think that's one of the problems with this movie, frankly, is this is not a character that deserves that kind of analysis, because as you mentioned, Candy Clark has maybe 10 minutes of screen time. The problem with a movie like this that doesn't devote the right amount of time to a plot that it's trying to convey to the audience is Coen treats their relationship in this movie as if what happens in this movie is the sum total of their relationship. You wonder, because she mentions that she's been hit before by him and all this stuff, but it's like, why are the events of this 24 hours or whatever it is, why is this the turning point in the relationship? It feels very much like, well, because they're in this movie and this is the plot that's going on, we want to have her character have this change. She's going to kick him out at the end and stand up to him today, as opposed to, I don't know how long they've been together. I don't know when he started beating her or becoming an asshole. I don't know why she couldn't see his mental instability until this afternoon. Or, I need to know more about these characters before I can consider them anything except dummies, which is to say puppets of convenience for a screenplay that doesn't know what to do with them. And on top of that, we keep talking about Quinn was done wrong by the system. We don't know that. We know that because of one line of dialogue where he was accusing Richard Roundtree, like a cop like that, unfairly, got me on trumped up charges when I was 19. Why would we believe anything he has to say? Especially a couple of scenes later when he's in the diner talking to Carradine's character, where he drops several racial slurs in relation to black people, and Richard Roundtree when he says that that conversation completely recasts what he meant when he says a cop like that
Right. Yep.
busted me when I was a kid.
No, I
Good
didn't
point.
think of that.
So
That is
so
a
it's
very
like
good
why
point,
why
yeah.
do we it you said it there, Scott, like he doesn't take responsibility for anything. It's entirely possible. He's like, I shouldn't have gone to jail. That was some other guy. That cop did me dirty. No, he's a loser and a scumbag.
I did catch that after that conversation he has with Carradine, with Shepard in the cafe. It does, even when he says it the first time, a cop like that, the way Moriarty says that, it's like, okay, does he mean cop corruption or does he mean a black cop arrested him?
I didn't put those two together until Ian just mentioned that, because I took that I took those to mean two different things. I took that to mean a cop like that, meaning a corrupt or overzealous cop. I didn't think of him using because I mean that's another knock on the guy. He's a wife beater, a racist. He's and you were right earlier when you said this is not a character who we should elevate to the level of a hero. But it's also the Popeye Doyle effect in that way, I guess. But Popeye Doyle is, he was a racist, but he was actually a smart cop.
Right, and that's, I think there's a difference there. I mean, like you could look at, Joe Pesci's character in Goodfellas is, he's a dirtbag, racist, misogynist criminal. But there's also something, well, you can say this about Joe Pesci's character in Casino or anything he's done with Scorsese, essentially.
Pretty much any Joe Pesci character.
But you're drawn to him because of that, that weird charisma, some powerhouse acting, and some great writing behind it, which is like, you would not want to meet this guy, but you're going to want to watch this guy for 2.5 hours. With Moriarty's character, the entire deck as a character is stacked against him, and it's up to the screenplay and it's up to the performance to give us a reason to care. When Moriarty goes off on all these tears, I honestly started, I'm not proud to admit this, but I started like fast forwarding on my, I watched this on YouTube. So I would like fast forward in like 15-second increments, like, oh, he's still ranting. Okay, keep going. Okay, now the plot's gone back into motion. I can start to pay attention again.
Yeah, they do like Jimmy Quinn run a bit at times.
I like Moriarty's performance in this, though.
He's good at doing Unhinged, and I fully believe that Cohen said, "I don't have anything written for you. Just go off." And I think he had the talent to pull it off. But in terms of like what it reveals about a character or as an audience member, why I should want to listen to any of this, he wasn't convincing, unless at the end, the point is, oh yeah, he's a lunatic. And after Carradine saves him from the Aztec witch doctor, he has him committed. And I'd be like, okay, there's justice in the world of narrative structure.
No, he lets him go. There you go. He just lets him go. It it is the weirdest ending. This is the weirdest ending to the film. You think it would end, oh, bird dead. Everybody, credits, King Kong style. All right, no, it's not, because we have
resurrected him is still out there.
Because we forgot about the total 5 minutes of total screen time we committed to the Aztec crime killer, who's the reason why the bird is back. We are suddenly reminded, oh wait, no, they didn't catch him.
Yeah.
He goes after Jimmy Quinn's character, who's been hiding out because they framed him. And so the Aztec guy threatens him. Shepard busted the apartment. Who he came with people, and then they went away. I don't know where Shepard's buddies went, but then he came in. He shoots Aztec guy dead, which took like 5 bullets. This guy just kept getting up like Jason. Yeah. And then they have like this buddy one-liner moment with him and Quinn. Quinn runs off, and Shepard pulls the do not disturb sign off one door and puts it on the door where the dead Aztec cop is. And then it's like, well, what? Aren't you trying? What the hell?
That's for the maid to clean up. Yeah.
You're a cop. You just shot this guy trying to kill somebody. So why are you hiding it?
It's It's just a bit. It's just a bit. And I loved the bit that where the killer, when he finally comes out, he's got the big bulging eyes and he's got the knife, and I'm like, oh my god, it's chubby Fuad Ramses. And I'm like, he brought it. It's a crossover film. I love it.
And that's another character actor whose name I'm missing here, but that's another guy I've seen in like a million things.
Yeah.
That's everybody in this movie is somebody I've seen in a million things, and most people cannot name a single one of them.
And then in true creature feature fashion and Larry Cohen fashion, we can't just end it. Nay, we rented that freaking helicopter for a day, by God, and we're going to shoot some more footage of New York. Oh, look at this interesting building with a hole in the roof. We're going to shoot that. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're going to use that for the cliffhanger ending of a possible sequel of Q2 with another egg in the roof of a building.
And it hatches.
And it has.
You zoom into it, it's like a scream comes out of it. It's very strange.
Like,
Do the reboot. Have all the QAnon crazies and stuff reveal that all of their craziness was to foretell the coming of the Quetzalcoatl.
That would be amazing. Oh, JFK Jr.'s at Quetzalcoatl.
He came back as a Quetzalcoatl.
I could see that.
There you go. There you go. That works.
By the way, they did a lot of damage to the Chrysler building.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, did they? I can't imagine.
Yeah, he got a little bit of trouble because they didn't want to let him do it. Finally, I think he gave them like $15,000. They did way more than $15,000 worth of damage to it.
Well, of course they did.
Well, sue the city. Everybody else is doing it these days. The same movie.
Did you know that they were going to try to get a very young Bruce Willis to play Carradine's character?
I didn't know that.
It was, yeah.
82? What had he even done at that point?
Well,
Body Heat, I'm thinking, is all.
Yeah, where was that?
He was in Body Heat, right?
A young Bruce Willis wanted to star in David Carradine's role, but wasn't a known name at that time. Larry Cohen could depend on being bankable. So Bruce later met Larry again when Moonlighting was a hit, but 3 years later. But before 3 years, a young Bruce Willis wanted to be, which would have been really weird, because then you could have done a whole Die Hard Q crossover.
Oh man, can you imagine Hans Gruber falling out of the building? All of a sudden, Q comes by and says,
it snatches him before he falls in. Why not? His arms were as long as any of those stop motion cops that get tossed by Q.
Seriously.
So.
Now you got me wondering if Bruce Willis was in Body Heat. I don't remember him.
No, he was not. No, he was not. I was about to interject. I was thinking of that. I was thinking that he was in First Deadly Sin. I get it confused with him being in First Deadly Sin and Mickey Rourke being in Body Heat. It was around the same time.
And the reason why I love movies like this is the stories. Like when I was watching That Strange Journey, the story of the Rocky Horror Show, the older films, the weird older films seem to have so many more interesting stories than modern films by any means. But the real interesting story with this one, imagine this, folks. It was originally announced that James Coburn and Yaphet Kotto were going to star in this Winged Serpent.
I don't know how there's all this lore about other actors when the fucking movie was written in 6 days and started production like 3 weeks later.
Exactly.
I don't know how.
Here you go. A young Eddie Murphy was considered for Moriarty's role, but investors didn't think a black unknown would do well overseas.
No, that one I'm going to call horse shit on.
Right.
I cannot picture Eddie Murphy at any age, even
playing a Moriarty character.
He was already on SNL at that time. He was already doing well. I cannot see him doing Q the Winged Serpent.
Michael Moriarty, I think, already had an Oscar nomination by this time. So
and this is the same year I know, but it's just the type of role, you know?
Yeah.
This is the same year Eddie Murphy made his debut in 48 Hours.
Yeah.
Well,
Same
but
year.
I mean that's the thing.
Right.
I could see Eddie Murphy doing this because I mean he's known especially back then for being the fast talking, run of the mouth kind of like nutty New York guy. I could see him pulling that off.
He is, but I don't think he likes it when it and I know he likes horror, you know, like look at the backstory for Vampire in Brooklyn. He was a huge fan of Craven. But I don't see him doing it. I think you look at that and you say that kind of movie was sort of done 4 years later as The Golden Child. And while I like it, he doesn't.
I think here's the thing. If you had Eddie Murphy, if they legitimately were thinking of Eddie Murphy and Moriarty's character, that character is completely different. He's not. I mean, he's still a con man. But he'd be more like Eddie Murphy. He'd be more like from Trading Places, that character, than what we get from Moriarty, who's the abusive ex-junkie. We would get the character that we got from Eddie Murphy in Trading Places.
But I still think
48 Hours.
He was probably still too big a name for this level of movie, though.
Yeah.
And I was also wrong. I thought Michael Moriarty was nominated for an Oscar for Bang the Drum Slowly. Vincent Gardenia was the only actor nominated in that.
I thought he was nominated too. Honestly,
I think Moriarty probably should have gotten an Oscar nomination for that movie. But
hey,
Moriarty. Yeah, I was wrong. He hadn't. Yeah,
we are in the age of indie small budget remakes. Someone go ahead and remake Q. Go ahead. Go for it.
No.
It's going to be a CGI Q. It's going to look terrible. It's worse than this.
No.
With that wonderful CGI from After Effects.
They'll either
look like a fucking Mark Polonia movie.
They'll either spend way too much on it as a big studio film, or you'll get something where you'll be like, yeah, it's good. It's fun, like an Asylum movie is fun. You know,
I'm surprised Asylum hasn't taken it.
That's my concern. Is that it'll end up being something like an Asylum movie,
right? And I enjoy those movies, but Q's a little better. Q's a little more special. No, let Q be its own thing. You know, you can do Terraconda or Dinodactyl or whatever you're doing, but you know, let Q be.
Yeah, let
Q be. Let it be. Let Q be. And that's, I think.
So the week that the last drive-in episode of this aired in 2019 was the same week Larry Cohen died. They'd shot it, obviously, beforehand. Larry Cohen died, I think, the Wednesday before it aired, so they hurried up and did a quick little in memory of at the beginning. But Joe Bob at the end of it says, if Larry Cohen can sell one more screenplay in 2020, he will have sold a screenplay in 8 different decades. At least 8 different decades.
That would have been interesting.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing for sure. Well, this show has been amazing tonight. Thank you all of my wonderful panel here who at various degrees didn't completely hate watching this film, but you know, I think films like this, and this is why I wanted to pick it, one, because it was a Carradine film, it fit the theme, but the other, it's a film that isn't talked about, but if you look at just what is going on and what film it is, it's just fascinating to see that a film like this being made in 82 at the same time we were getting like Conan, you know, and that you were still getting someone making a creature feature with stop motion creature, you know, with a extensive stop motion creatures in it. So thank you so much to my panel. Now, this is always the moment where I give them the license to shill. So, Joe, go ahead first. The license to shill is yours.
I don't have anything specific to shill this week. I am starting to work on something that I can hopefully start shilling next week. And I'll get to that next week if I get a chance to get everything off the ground. There's going to be 3 double features of The Last Drive-In next month. there's going to be our regular October, first Friday in October, the regular episode. It's already been announced. We're doing a AMC special where we're going to be showing A Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy vs. Jason.
Wow.
Weird jump that we're just skipping 10 movies there, but whatever, man. It's AMC. And then the Halloween special will be the 24th, I want to say. I should have looked these dates up and had them like ready for you. But that'll be, I think, the last Friday before Halloween.
Yeah, that would be the 24th. Yeah, because Halloween's 30 on a Friday this year. So.
Okay, so I'm not bad at this. Okay.
No, you're not. There you go. Awesome. Licensed to shill, Scotty D.
Well, I'm mostly here, so why travel? You can just catch me here. But like, if you'd like to you can catch me on a few episodes of here when I can make it. I sometimes can't, but when I can do it, I've been showing up here more. Also, I've been on a couple episodes of Insane Troll Logic, which is a Buffy podcast. You can see me on lots of things in the past, Movieocrity, my own show. At the Devil's Ball, Astro Radio Z, lots of stuff, including my website, movieocrity.com. But that's all older stuff. For right now, it's mostly here and Insane Troll Logic.
Fantastic.
And something else maybe eventually, but who knows?
Ooh, exciting.
Who knows?
Who knows? And Ian, my man, the licensed shill, please shill away.
I'm Ian Simmons. I run Kicking the Seat, which you can find at kickseat.com. Do movie reviews and interviews and podcasts and live streams and all that good stuff. This week, we're going to be doing Wednesday live stream of the movie Him at 8 p.m. Central. And then on Thursday night, 8:30 p.m. Central, will be the last installment of Season 1 of Say No More Xenomorph, our weekly look at Alien Earth on FX/Disney/Hulu. Join us for what will hopefully be the final stab at an autopsy for one of the worst things to ever disgrace the television screen. And I'm here. Yeah, on Sundays. Yeah,
I had a feeling that was going to be a terrible show.
You are not prepared, Joe.
He's not the first. You're not the only one I've heard say that it is really.
And it
terrible.
got renewed for a second season, Ian. So are you a completionist or not?
It?
Yes.
No, here's the thing. I don't believe it because Green Lantern, the Ryan Reynolds movie, that was also greenlit for a second film. And we saw how that turned out, or we didn't. So I'll believe it when I see it. This thing, Scott and Joe, I recommend it only because it is unbelievable that a show can go from lame to bad to worse to wow, that's really bad. I can only imagine what the season finale has in store. But I'll quit bitching, and maybe I'll be surprised. I've been
watching that franchise shit the bed for 30 years now. So,
wow.
Look, Alien Resurrection has long been the punchline of the Alien series. Alien Earth is about to steal that title.
Yeah. So it should be an interesting discussion for sure. In case you folks don't know, Sawdust City Fright Fest is second weekend in October. We are kicking it off Friday night, October 10th, with a showing of the giant spider invasion, as well as the concept video for Rise of Dearmageddon, a wonderful Wisconsin indie musical. They're showing the concept trailer short for the feature they're hoping to make. And then Saturday, October 11th, will be 2 blocks of shorts and a feature as well, featuring filmmakers and indie filmmakers. Over 50% are Wisconsin produced and shot, so look for that. If you are interested, I actually did a couple written reviews. They're on specialmarkproductions.com. I write occasionally, as well as my review of Him. The 1 minute Movie Man's Minute is up. And my interview with Linus O'Brien, the son of Richard O'Brien, and we got to talk about his new fun documentary, which is Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror Show. So not just the picture show, it's about the show in general. So it's a very enlightening documentary, which drops later this month, as does Good Boy is coming up soon, and my review of that will drop when the embargo lifts. And just a lot of stuff going on. Actually, it's a light month this month. So specialmarkproductions.com for all your Movie Man needs. Check it out. Thank you so much to my panel. who are very patient and loving, and all of you out there who continue to listen to our show, every single one of you. Because of your support, we did get nominated for the Astra Podcast Awards for the member category. So we are in very good company, along with the Cinephile Hissy Fit podcast, which is Don Shanahan and Will Johnson's podcast. They've both been on the show, so we are in good company. It is an honor just to be nominated. And so, yeah, check that out as well. Thank you all. And next week, Carradine Carnage. If you thought Q was weird, wait till you get Q.
You got Fred, Ole, and Ray coming your way, baby.
We got Fred, Ole, and Ray Warlords coming up. So, which we'll just tease you by saying, giving new meaning to getting head. And with that, we'll just say good